All right, guys, are you all ready? Because we are back with another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for January 14th, 2023. This is your weekend edition, folks. And we have a pretty good lineup of coins to talk about today, along with some paper money. No big secret. That's what we talk about every single week. So, a lot of what we do find on this report are going to be notable errors, notable varieties. There might be a key date thrown in there, maybe one that was found somewhere, right? Really hard to say where some of this comes across. What we do know is that they are searchable today, and they are littered all throughout circulation. They're at the coin shops, they are at the show circuit, and these, ladies and gentlemen, are coins that you could certainly add to your collection. You know, that really nice cherry picker's guide find. An error that really makes your heart skip a beat. I mean, we could all kind of agree that this is the ultimate chase. And everybody is having a lot of fun doing this, either adding to their collection or reselling it. I know a lot of people are doing this for a living and making some pretty good money as a result. Now, one of my stipulations of the report is we don't talk about graded coins at all. Actually, I haven't done a graded version of this report in quite some time. I might have to do that here real soon. But the big idea is you stay away from grading, you're going to save money. Grading error coins, especially through a grading company like PCGS, you're going to have to cough up $60 to $70 just to grade that coin with the error attribution on the label. It's expensive, right? But when you think of a mint error that, maybe has a value of $20 to $30 or even $50, the misconception is you send these things off to a grading company, they come back, with the error on there, they're all of a sudden worth 10 times what the actual raw value is of the coin, and that's not entirely true. So that's why we talk about just the raw coins on this list. We're also going to deep dive a little bit into the 2023 U.S. Coin Release Watch. That's right. We're going to be doing this here throughout the next few weeks. There you go. 2023 Coin Release Watch. What if I told you guys that these things are in circulation right now? Yeah, I mean, it's a Saturday evening, so there's very little that you could do right this moment. But yeah, Monday morning, I suggest for the few of you, or maybe a lot of you, that want to grab a hold of rolls of brand new 2023 coinage, now's the time. Here, ladies and gentlemen, are 3 denominations that are currently live and people are selling on eBay. The good news is there's like 1 or 2 listings of each respective coin. So to kind of recap of what's out there currently on eBay, 2023 Denver Jefferson Nickels. There have been no Philadelphias found as of yet. There are also 2023 Denver Roosevelt Dimes. Those are officially live right now. And then finally, the coin that a lot of people are waiting for is the Bessie Coleman American Women's Series quarter. Right now we are seeing both Philadelphia and Denver minted examples that are live in circulation today. Now, as a big surprise, we're not seeing any Lincoln cents out there yet. However, there are folks that are doing pre-sales of that coin. So out of every denomination, the Lincoln cent release in bankroll form is still the most anticipated release every single year. And the big reason why is everybody's really, really looking forward to hunting out some of the big errors and varieties. And based off of what we've seen the last few years, it's understandable. And as a result, rolls and full bank boxes will command just a ridiculous premium for the first 10 days. So as soon as those hit, you guys need to be out there finding some of those bank boxes or rolls, either to go through for yourself or to flip them. It's not out of the question a full $25 bank box of the newest coin for the year sells for anywhere from $300 to $500 from what we've seen. And those are realized sales, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not talking out of my hoo-ha here when I bring that up, because I talk about it every single year and I chronicle the release as it continues on. So these are the 3 denominations that are currently live right now. So Monday morning, take your trek to the bank, find some of these coins, and have fun with it. Make some money. Tax time's right around the corner. If you owe money for tax season, this is a good way of making it less of a bitter pill to swallow. So anyways, enough about that. Let's go ahead and jump right into the meat and potatoes of the Pocket Change Market Report. We have our one and only lot, I believe. No, actually we have one other lot. Nothing too significant, but we have a lot of 3 2001 Lincoln Memorial cents. They're all off-center struck. It's one of the more common dates to find this. Apparently people are finding these left and right, going through their mint-sewn bags that still existed during that time. And because of that, these are rife out there in the marketplace today. If you needed any 1999 to 2001 off-center struck Lincoln cent, you're going to have a really easy time doing so, because it's the most widely available set of dates for this particular era. Now, this is a trio lot here. The top middle coin has some sort of staining issue on there. Not my particular favorite, but all in all, the coin lot that you see here did sell for $31 with 13 bids. So is this an opportunity to buy this and then flip it to make money? It could be. Not a whole lot, but there is a little bit of opportunity here. Or if you want to add a few pieces to your collection and just simply hold on to them, okay, you could do far worse. All right, so we have here probably the next 7 or 8 listings. We have minor errors and things like that that you guys need to know about. While a lot of these coins are, relatively inexpensive, and some of them are even under $10, it's still money in the bank, right? Because if you're reselling for a living, you're using eBay or any other site, or Facebook Marketplace, or some buy-sell trade groups on there. You have to take your smalls with the bigs. You've heard me say that before. So we have a 1945 Lincoln wheat cent with a lamination issue on the reverse, which is really cool, is the crack of that edge of that lamination makes it just about almost all the way across the coin, and that's kind of part of the eye appeal when it comes to these things. And you got to take advantage of selling these laminations today. These things used to sell for 50 cents to $1 a few years ago, and then all of a sudden people are paying a little bit more for them. People are assembling date sets. They're finding premier examples that have large lamination detachments coming off the things, and there's a pretty substantial amount of money that's being tossed into this segment of U.S. Mint errors. This one right here is about as minor as you could get. This one sold for $7.10. Again, by the time you factor in shipping and eBay fees, you'll probably net out about $4 in profit here. While, again, not a lot, it all goes into one pot. This one's actually really neat. And, at first glance, someone will say, yeah, that's a pretty nice off-center error. And you could probably use that case here. 1994, Philadelphia. Actually, this is a 96. Sorry about that. 1996 P Washington quarter. This one is termed with having a partial tilted collar. Now, when you look at this obverse edge right here, where the off-center part of it is, you can see that it's stepped a little bit, and that's how you could tell it's a partial collar. The collar wasn't completely seated all the way; it was actually tilted a little bit, and when the coin is struck, it's going to actually cause a little bit of some sort of damage because the collar is going to be pressing into the coin kind of wonky, thereby leaving that anomaly that you see here on this one. So this one right here ended up selling for $12.50. I want to add that this coin is pretty well circulated. And most people that are collecting these by date, they prefer a full-blown off-center struck coin and not necessarily a partial tilted collar. In the hierarchy of similar types of errors like this, the off-center strikes are going to command more money than this one. Yeah, so I was more than a little bit surprised when this one showed up on the list of notable coins that sold here in the last 24 hours. A 2021 Philadelphia Kennedy half dollar. So for those of you that aren't aware, a few years ago, probably like 2019, the U.S. Mint makes these Kennedy half dollars, which are considered not intended for circulation. So the only way that you could obtain them was buying them through the U.S. Mint website, and you can either buy them through as far as rolls, like P&D rolls, or bags. So those were your two options. But when the pandemic hit, and there was a need for coinage, the U.S. Mint ended up taking all of the unpurchased inventory from the NIFC Kennedy half dollars, and they sent them to the Fed Reserve Bank, and ultimately they ended up at the local banking system. And there were numerous reports of folks finding full $500 face value bank boxes of nothing but brand new Kennedy half dollars. And unfortunately, because of the mass exodus of all those coins from the U.S. Mint inventory rooms, they didn't command as nearly as much money as some of the earlier dates. It used to be that you could assemble just like a mixed date of NIFC Kennedys and sell them for double face value. But when the Mint injected the banking system with these newer 2020, 21, and 22 Kennedys, they don't command barely anything over face value, even though their mintages are quite small. Only a few million of each mint were ever produced. But getting back to this coin, a little bit of backstory regarding the NIFC Kennedys over the last few years. So someone had discovered this one, probably, doing some roll hunting for silver. And it turns out that this particular coin has a partial tilted collar. So you could see kind of like that stepped railroaded edge where it's half struck and the other half is struck with full reeds on there. A phenomenal looking coin. It looks slightly off center on this one, but nothing too crazy. This coin, ladies and gentlemen, ended up selling for $24.80. I would imagine there's going to be a boatload more because this is all coming from the just really bad quality control era of the pandemic. So there's more than likely more of these. I've seen some pretty crazy strike throughs on some of these newer Kennedy half dollars from the last 2 years. So there's a pretty nice bevy of various errors to look out for. And I would suggest that you guys take advantage of this right now. If you end up with a full bank box of 21p or 22 Phillies, I would probably open up all of them and just do the once over to make sure that you're not going to be missing anything when you're going after these. The next coin that we have here is just a really peachy looking 1990 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel. It's off center by quite a bit. In this particular case, it looks about 60%, maybe a little bit more than that. But this is going to go into a date set, I'm sure. This one sold for $35.30 with 17 bids. Coming up next is one of my absolute favorite coins to cherry pick because it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's that easy. 1938 Denver Buffalo nickel. Now, they only made them with Denver minted coins, examples for this year. There were no Philadelphias, no San Franciscos, although the argument is that there are some over mint marks that you could find. Now, this one is actually a repunched mint mark, and it's one that I've encountered quite frequently. It's actually very common, and if you're going to be hunting out there for nice kind of like low-hanging fruit style of varieties, this one has to be on the top of your list. This one, as you can see, has a secondary Denver mint mark that's punched westward of the primary mint mark. And the arrows on this particular photo right here certainly help illustrate that. This one sold for $19.95. It's my personal experience that 30 ADs are so common, even in VF and XF condition, that you could pick one up for about $2 to $3. So if you do that, You cherry pick a number of these, like at a coin show. Again, they're really easy to find. Then you could actually, rake in, some pretty nice varieties for potential resale. The next one that we have here, this one I'm a little uncertain of because we just don't see too many Susan B. Anthony's with curved clips. From the front of the coin, it looks okay. It looks every bit like a clip right there. But when you look at the reverse right here, it looks a little funny, like the overall shape and stuff. I'm going to put this one here in this list, just as kind of like a cautionary tale. Because you always want to try and look for examples with the Blakesley effect, and that's going to be a little bit of rim flattening on the opposite side of the coin to where the clip is. And I'm just not seeing it on this example, but someone did throw this one up on eBay, and it did sell for $9.50 with 13 bids. No doubt about it, this one's an off-center struck Georgia statehood quarter with a date of 1999, and yes, you're reading that correctly. It's a Denver coin. Now, we've seen a number of Denver minted off-center struck statehood quarters. They're all kind of isolated in the 1999 to 2001 era, whereas, if you wanted to go into a later date for an off-center strike, Philadelphia is going to be that mint you're looking for on those other states. Pleasing looking condition right here. Again, if you don't need this, this is always a decent sell. This one ended up selling for $9 with 7 bids. Another great one here. Quick little update on the wide AM market. And this is actually a very nice, pleasing mint state coin. Lots of full red on here. And I would say, as far as all the other coins I've seen with this particular design variety on the reverse, I've seen some pretty crappy coins, and they don't sell for a ton of money, like maybe $5 to $8, somewhere around there. But this one is worth paying a little bit more for if you're trying to assemble a 3-coin set of this reverse variety. Now, the regular 98 to 2000 Lincoln Memorial cents will have a close AM. That's where the base of the A and M in America are actually touching. This one has a noticeable gap. Therefore, it's the wide AM. All right, so there's nothing remotely close to another wide AM that's going to have this same width of a gap between those two letters, so make sure you're looking out for these. This particular example in this condition sold for $21.45 with 12 bids. There were a couple of very impressive cud die breaks. How about this 1980 Lincoln Memorial cent? Again, not the prettiest looking example, but would you really throw this one back because it had a little corrosion on the reverse? Absolutely friggin' not. Keep this one. If not for your collection, resell it. Because we have seen, and the market proves, that condition sometimes does not matter to some of the most marquee errors that are being sold on the market today. So this one right here did sell for $98 with 8 bids. And I'm happy to say that this one is actually attributed on the website cudsoncoins.com as being CU-1C-1980-25. 25 being that this is the 25th known cud die break for this particular date. Believe it or not, there are 24 others, I believe, of this date with a cud somewhere on the coin. Pretty impressive, considering that there are that many available. And here you go. Here's one of the best ones that did sell for nearly $100. Another curved clip, this time on a 1936 Lincoln wheat cent. Again, these things used to be nothing. Now they're a little bit of something, right? You could go out, sell this thing, and buy yourself a meal for lunch. I'm not going to say if it's healthy or not, but hey, why not? $21.50. Seems like you could, take your spouse or girlfriend out, or your husband or boyfriend or whoever, your partner, take them out for a quick, nice, light lunch or a cup of coffee. And it's all for selling. It's a good old basic run-of-the-mill bottom feeder error that we all used to not care too much about a few years ago. Now, when you could command $20 for this, sign me up. I would sell every single one of them all day long. Here's the other big cud die break that popped on the radar in the last day. 1982 large date bronze. Look at that cut, encapsulating most of the motto right there. It's phenomenal. And then you have the requisite amount of weakness on the reverse in that same area where the cut is on the obverse. That's almost a must to be on the lookout for. This one, ladies and gentlemen, sold for a booming $155.60. Probably sold for that amount of money because it's not a cut that you see pop up too often. And people are collecting these by the actual shape and catalog attributed, classification number that you see on the Cuds on Coins website. All right, so back to some of the more crazy stuff. 1970D Lincoln Memorial Cent is off center by about 60%, much like the other coin we saw earlier. Can't really tell if this one is uncleaned or something. It's got a weird, funny kind of look to it. Or it might just be the photos, but this is indeed a little bit tougher date. You have a full date and mint mark. That's something that really does matter to collectors of this. This one sold for $23.39 with 4 bids. Some more lamination shenanigans, this time on a 1946 Lincoln Wheat cent. And I'm telling you, I found a whole bunch of these. And they were tossed aside into just one random bulk pile. And I might have to, because of like listings like this, I might have to go back and actually see what I have, so that way I could just go ahead and get rid of them, strike while the iron's hot. This one is impressive because it goes through the date and into Lincoln's jacket. It's either one of two things. It could really be a detached lamination, which I think is what it is, or it could be a struck through lamination from another coin that had detached. So they're going to look rather similar. And sometimes it's hard to differentiate between the two. So this one right here sold for $19.75 with 8 bids. Can you imagine scoring yourself $10 to $20 per lamination that you find? And it's like one of the easiest mint errors, ladies and gentlemen, to find in like big wheat cent bag lots and things of that nature. These things they're the most available type of error you will find. And they come in all different sizes. I like this one only because it's a really big curved clip. I mean, this thing's massive. This is what they call a crescent when it becomes this big. 1964 Denver Lincoln Memorial Cent. But what's really cool is this is an old archived find by evidence of that holder that it sits in with a good old-fashioned little paper insert that was, well, typed on a good old-fashioned typewriter. I mean, do you guys know what a typewriter is? I'm sure, half of you do. When I first got started, in computer class, I had to take a typing class back in the early 90s. So we were slapping away at the good old-fashioned typewriters. And yeah, there was a period of time where there was a lot of innocence and just record keeping, at the most crudest of levels. And it still works today. So this one right here is a very, very dramatic looking coin. It sold for $36.01 with 7 bids. Here's another one of those very common errors on a very common date, 1999 Lincoln Memorial. This one's off center by about 50% this time around. $25.38 was the sale price. The seller had mentioned that it was probably like 70%. I'm thinking it's more 50-55% based off of what I'm seeing, but what's the big deal? It's a really fabulous looking coin. It could be 50%, 70%, 40%. It doesn't matter. It's a really, really cool example that you could add to a typeset. And if you have one for sale, just know that you could earn yourself a pretty nice little payday for something like this. Wow, is this our first piece of currency? By golly, I think it is. So we're a little bit back half loaded with paper money. So just to let you guys know, 1981 $20 Fed Reserve note with a gutter fold. All right, just a very dramatic looking error. But however, one of the more common types to come across. The sheet had a wrinkle that was printed over and was never stretched out at any one point because on the front of the note you could see that gutter really well, and you also see it on the back too. The back is printed first on the sheets, and then all the front stuff. So again, very nice, very dramatic, great example. It's a single gutter. People want multiple gutters on one note for just dramatic effect. This one right here is sold for $180. A very, very respectable sale. And another good one here. I mean, shoot, you just need to look at every single American Samoa because of this coin. The double back quarter is timeless. It kind of takes up the rear of a program that was hit or miss for a lot of people, and that's the ATB National Park Series quarters. But people really did fall in love with this, and so did error collectors as well. There were some pretty amazing strike throughs you could find here. This is what they call the blind bat quarter, because the strike throughs are all found right on the mama bat's face, and you can find some that encapsulates the entire front face of mama bear here, or mama bat, that is. This one has a nice size strike through. It's one of the more common sizes from what I've seen, but still, don't downplay the value of something like this. This one sold for $55.60. So from the same seller, they had a few actually pretty impressive $100 bill errors, both non-colorized. So this is from a little bit older era. 2006 is the date on here, and you can see that this one's miscut. The ink's not misaligned at all. It's just bad cutting job here. You can see that as well on the reverse. There's a little bit of writing on the bottom left margin. You have a couple teller stamps on there as well. This was actually a note that was sold in Canada on eBay. So there are collectors all across the globe of U.S. currency. It's like a universally kind of like celebrated, segment of numismatics all across the globe is collecting currency. So yeah, pretty neat. I mean, this one right here ended up selling for $159.99. Again, $60 over is not horrible. And then with all the teller stamps and writing and stuff like that, it's just a really good amount of money for this one. Here's the other lot. Only the big twist with this one is you have two consecutive serial numbered Franklins, Benny Franks, up in the house right here. Again, both off-center cut on the same sheet, which makes sense. So, aside from that, just a really good-looking lot. There's a little bit of a back image. The notes appear to be crisp uncirculated, which certainly helps out the sale at $419.99 for the pairing. So again, another fantastic sale right here. And, probably ended up profiting around $140 after it's all said and done. That's after face value, shipping, and fees and whatnot. Always a good one to look out for, okay? Of course, the nicer the condition, the more meaningful they are to actual collectors. But this is the 1988 wide AM reverse. That's the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. So, you're going to look out for that wide gap between A&M in America, but also the different design or font of the FG initials right next to the base of the memorial. So the G will have a drop-down kind of serif that goes beyond the bottom curve of the G. All right, and it's very bold and robust, whereas the regular ones are so faintly struck, and that really trips up most folks. But look out for that gap in the A&M, where all the regular coins will have no gap at all. So this coin right here is sold for $25.55. Even in this condition, which I would say is a solid AU. So, don't overlook 1988 Phillies and Denvers with this reverse design transition, because it's always a good find. And, it's guaranteed money in the bank, whether it's $20, $100. It's actually a very, very worthwhile coin to list up on eBay. A good one here. Yeah, you don't see this date that often off-center struck, but it's a 1966 Lincoln Memorial, off-center by a very minimal, like 10%. Good-looking coin, a few little carbon spots, but overall, a collector that's looking for this date will end up picking it up. This one sold for $40. So again, the final sale price lets everybody know that it is a somewhat tougher date, and I agree. Another off-center strike, nothing too crazy. This time on 1942 dated Lincoln wheat cent, and this one did sell for $52.99. Sounds like a coin and a date that some date collectors are looking for. Our final cut of the bunch is this 1986 Philly Jefferson nickel. We've talked about this one before, and it shows up pretty frequently. It's not out of the question that I see probably a half a dozen of these sell every single month, and you got to keep an eye out for those mid-80s Jeffersons. Man, they are just tickle with all sorts of cut die breaks on them, whether it's at the bust of, the base of the bust of Thomas J here, or if it's on top of his head, or somewhere else on the date, on Liberty, in the motto. They can be found anywhere, but you should check out cudsoncoins.com. I think 1983 or 1986 are the two most common dates for cut die breaks. So this one ended up selling for $30.85 with 8 bids, again proving that little minor cuts and the overall cut market is the king of kings right now. We have to show another Wounded Eagle, right? Because here's the deal with these. The more of them I show to you, the more validation that exists that these are plentiful, all right? Because if people are selling them like once a day and they're still commanding a very good amount of cash, that means there's quite a few of them out there. So you need to take advantage of looking through your 2000 Philly Sacagawea dollars for the Wounded Eagle reverse. This one, pretty well circulated, but it's got that one major raised die gouge right here that goes through the kind of like the breast area of that eagle. It does have a secondary little gouge. Those generally become lost after some circulation wear, but yeah, the coin itself has some pretty notable scratches and digs in certain areas. So again, it's not like the most premier specimen that you will ever come across. But even still, a coin in this condition ended up selling for $70.95 with 4 bids. That is impressive. Now we have a couple of very impressive coins to kind of end the show on. How about a double struck 1981 Denver Washington quarter? A Denver minted coin that is double struck, that's out there ungraded. What else can you say? They just don't show up. And these are about some of the most dramatic U.S. mint errors that you will ever come across. Any double struck, triple struck, in collar, out of collar, flip overs. I mean, these things there's a big reason why these sell for a tremendous amount of money, because people want the coins that they could use as a conversation piece because they are so out of this world, like this one here. So this coin ended up selling for $106.87 with 11 bids. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one of my favorite coins on this week's list. And then finally, we're going to end it off on this one. I talked about this one in a YouTube short a few short days ago. 2019 Lincoln Shield cent. For a while, people were kind of not paying attention. They didn't have their eye on the ball, by the way, when they're cracking their rolls of 2019 Lincolns, other than looking for that DDO that everybody was buzzing about. But this one has a sizable pre-cud die break, or a crack, whatever you want to call it, and it's right there. So it goes from the rim into the D in God, through Lincoln's hair, and then escapes on the other side between the E and T of those two words. And you have displacement. You just check out the letter D. You can see that shift of half of the D from one to the other, from one side of the crack to the other. But yeah, I mean, this thing right here, this thing is quite elusive. Nobody really paid attention to this particular error, and it's okay. I mean, no harm, no foul. This one was actually a little bit of a steal. It ended up selling as a buy it now for $35. Guess what? There is one other example that we ended up showcasing on our live coin Q&A live stream from this past Monday. He had posted it on eBay as a traditional auction, and it's up to like $76. And the condition is similar, nice mint state grade. But yeah, this one undersold for $35, while we have another one floating out there with like 3 days left at $76. That might be a $100 coin by the time it's all said and done. But pre-cuds, retained cuds, things like that are almost up there to regular cuds. They are very well collected, and they're pursued, for what they are, because people are kind of putting together progression sets of these. So there you go. That's the last coin for the Saturday edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This was quite the show. A lot of neat coins. Brand new 2023s are out there. First thing Monday, you guys go out, at least hit up 2 or 3 banks. Get your feelers out there. And if you could score some of these, that's awesome, because people are looking to buy these ASAP. And they want to be the first to find a certain error or a first variety. They want to put their name on something tangible with the brand new years of coins. And that's why people are paying a ton of money for virgin, unbroken, unsearched rolls of these brand new coins. So go ahead and check that out while you can. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my content and the channel if you haven't done so already. Come check me out on TikTok. Hit the follow button while you're there if you like the shorter sub 1 minute videos. I got plenty of those as well. But that's going to go ahead and do it. You guys go out and do some hunting, and I will see you guys on the next coin video. So long.